guys, Steve Munson here. Hey, I just want to take a few minutes and show you guys how to program your FoxPro CS24C. I get a lot of requests from people because I have programmed quite a few units in the past, and this unit's a little bit more intimidating than most of theirs, but it's really not that difficult. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you've downloaded the FoxPro programmer off of their website onto your desktop, because you'll need that for programming this unit. This unit, you have to get inside of it to get to the USB port. Now, another thing you're going to want to do before you get started is make sure you have the correct cord for plugging into your computer and into the unit. Now, the easiest way to tell which one's the right one is if you take the TX1000, pull the back off. Right here is a USB port. Just make sure that the cord fits that. If it fits this, it'll fit the USB port inside the cap of the CS24C. A couple more things that you want to do before we move forward is make sure that you've got fresh batteries in your remote, because if you don't have brand new batteries or fresh batteries in your remote, it could corrupt the file and not load up right when you go to sync the sounds. So it's important to do that. So one of the first things you have to do is there's 3 screws on this unit that have to be removed before you can get to the USB port to plug it in. And this is where a lot of guys get a little intimidated on programming these, because you get scared of opening this back. Because once you open this up and lay it over, there's some wires in there, and you want to make sure you don't pull those wires. So what I do is I put this like that so that I can just take this and lay it over like this. Screws might fall out so that it doesn't pull on the wires. Okay, now that you've got your unit open and you see where the USB port is, before you plug it in, go ahead and make sure that you've got the FoxPro programmer up on your computer. And then what you'll do is plug this into the computer, and then go ahead and plug the cord into the USB port. It'll give you a little notification that it's been plugged in on your computer. Before I pull up my FoxPro programmer, what I want to do is show you a screen that you might see when you first plug in your unit. This is the letter assigned to your e-collar. It could be D, it could be E, it could be F. These are all the sounds that are on the hard drive of your e-collar. So what you're going to want to do is pay attention to what this number is, because when you first go into your FoxPro programmer, I believe you have to assign the letter that your unit is on within the programmer. It's been so long ago since I did that, I don't exactly remember how to do that. It's nothing to it, but you might need to look at your manual to see how that's done, or you just might be able to figure it out really easy. But I want to just bring that up so you can see that. I'm just going to minimize that for now. So this is the FoxPro programmer. When you first plug in your unit and it comes up on here, there's a couple things that are going to happen. First of all, you're going to get a notification and asking if you want to back up your sounds. And you should go ahead and back up your sounds. That'll end up in your backup file here. And then that way, if you do something and mess up and you want to just put the same sounds back on, you can go back into your backup file and put it right back on there. The other thing, when you open up your unit for the first time in this programmer, you're probably not going to see anything on this side because it'll be empty. But because I've used mine so much, something always shows up in here, whatever the last file was I was working in. What I want to do is walk you through how to upload sounds into this file folder and then get them onto your e-collar. So you've got these 2 file locations here. These are your backups. For now, if you don't have anything in there, if it's the first time you've plugged it in, you're not going to have anything in there except what you just backed up. So you can go in here and browse library. So let's say you ordered sounds from FoxPro or somebody else, and they emailed them to you, and you uploaded them either onto your desktop or they're in your download file or wherever they are. You locate them, you go in here and you locate where they are. So for now, I'm just going to go actually documents, and I'll go into my FoxPro file, and then I've got a master list of just a lot of different sounds and stuff in here. And so you can go in here and pick sounds out of here. For right now, let's do rabbits. Now the other thing I want to bring up too is certain units only will play 16-bit files, and some units will play everything from 16 to 24-bit. The unit that we're programming today will play 24-bit. I believe the Banshee only does 16 sound bits. So you're going to want to make sure that you know what sound files work on your unit before you actually order them. So for instance, right now, let's just open this up. So this is just a bunch of rabbit sounds of FoxPro. So what I would do is, in order to get this folder to go into that location on the programmer, I have to pick one sound and hit open, and then all of them show up in this here file. So this is all this is your source file that you just loaded up in here that you want to transfer some sounds out of here onto your e-caller. So let's say you want to take the Screaming Rabbit and put it over into your master list on your e-caller. You're just going to highlight that and hit insert, and it's going to take it right to the bottom of the list. And you can go in here and you can just add any of them in there like that. Now if you want to go in here and add, let's say you want to add 3 sounds in here. Oops, let's see, 3 sounds. You hit that, then if you hit CTRL, you can go in here and just hit, you know, whatever ones you want, and then you can hit insert and it'll put them all in there at the same time. Or let's say you want this whole list. You can select this whole list and hit insert and it'll just put it all right in there. So that's how you take them from this side here and put them into the other side. Real easy. It's just highlight it and insert it. And then on this side here, let's say you want to go through here and you want to take a few sounds out. So you hit that and then you can remove that from the list. But then you got to move all these up. So if you want to move a number of these up, just highlight one and hit your CTRL, and then you have to move it up like that. And you can move a number of them up at the same time and get them in the right spot. Instead of having to just move one at a time, it can be kind of a pain. So if you highlight them, you can move them a number of them at a time. But you can take and let's just try that one more time. Let's take this one and let's remove this one from the list. So now in order to get this all to go back up, or you can just take this thing and have that empty and say, okay, well, I want to just put adult cocktail in there. And there you go. And that's probably an easier way to do that. Let's say that's all the sounds you want to add to your e-caller at this time. So then what you're going to have to do is go up here and hit Update e-caller. And then another screen's going to come up. It's on my other screen. It's just going to show that it's uploading. And it just takes a matter of a few seconds or so. Okay, then you'll get a reminder to update your remote. Anytime you make any change in here on the master list, you're going to need to go in and resync the remote to the unit. So now let's say we want to go and edit categories. So you hit categories and it brings you over in here. Now everything on this right side is your category. So you've got birds and crows and coyotes and whatever your category lists are. So I'm going to back up for just a second and go back out. What I would do before you edit the categories that would make it a little bit easier is I'd go and print a list. So you can hit print list and it will print the entire list of sounds that are on the hard drive of the caller. And then what you can do is you can kind of go through there, and it makes it easier sometimes to look on that list to add sounds into your category so you don't miss something. So then you can go back into your categories. So let's say I wanted to, and these aren't necessarily correct because I just threw something on my caller here to use, but let's say this doesn't belong in here, right? So let's just hit delete and let's get that out of there. So anytime you delete anything out of the categories here on this side, it is not going to affect what's on this side. This list on this side is what you just uploaded onto your e-caller. Nothing is going to come out of here. It just deletes it off of this side right here. And let's say, like this one here doesn't belong there. So let's delete that out of there. So then you just go through here and if there's sounds you want to delete out, or let's say you want this group hall to the top of the list. So you just drag that thing right to the top of the list, and there it is on your group house. You can change this to whatever order you want on your remote. When you turn your remote onto the Coyotes, you can have this whatever sounds you want to the top. If you use, you know, something that's like if you used coyote pair howls or whatever, you know, you can throw that to the top or put it wherever you want in the list that makes sense to you. Okay, so if I want to add to this list on the right, let's say I want to add something to the birds. For just sake of ease, I'm not going to put a bird in there because if I've already got it in there, it'll tell me to duplicate. So let's just put these female challenge barks up in here. So you can drop it right there on the birds and it's going to come into the list, and it'll always go to the bottom if you do that. So if you're building a list and you start out from scratch and you're putting them in the order you already want, then it'll just automatically go to the bottom. But you can still move this around. If you want to take and put, let's put Coyote Pup Screams in there. So let's drop and drag that. So if you want that and you already know you want it right here, then just drop it right there. So that's real easy to do. You can do that with any one of these files. And you can delete and add to them just by dropping and dragging and clicking on here and deleting there. You can just grab one and delete it out of there. So the other thing you can do in here is you can take, and you know, it gets kind of cumbersome with all that stuff in there. If you're done with your bird category, you can collapse that. You can collapse each one of these files. It's easier to work with a specific category this way. So let's say you want to add another category. So let's say you go over here and hit new category. And let's say you want to add, just for sake of adding a category, let's put pigs. And then you hit OK. So that's going to bring a new file, pigs, right there. So if this was a pig file I wanted in there, then I just pull it up there, drop it in there. Take this one, drop it up in there. So you can just see how easy it is to build your files. And again, you don't have to do it up on the top. You can do it there, and you can move them around. You can do whatever you want to do. And then also you can move your different categories around to get them in the order you want to as well. That's just basically an overall demonstration on how to move sounds from here over into your categories and build categories. The nice thing about the categories is now you no longer have to have this stuff in order. It can be in here anywhere you want, and anytime you can drop a new sound onto your e-collar, it automatically goes to the bottom. Then you can just automatically go down there, grab that sound, and drag it right over to wherever you want it. So then when you're done, all you got to do is just go over here, save, and done, and hit OK. And everything is done here. So now the next step would be to unplug your e-collar, and you don't have to do anything special for that other than just unplug it from the unit. When you do your categories and change those and do all that work, all that category work stuff is going into the category file on your hard drive. So there's nothing else to do but just go ahead and unplug your unit at this point. Unplug your cord from your unit and stick the cap back on and put the screws back on, and you're finished with this part of the process. I want to really stress that you don't ever disconnect this cord out of your TX1000 remote without safely disconnecting it from your computer first. So you'll have to find out where you disconnect the hardware on your computer. The TX1000 will come up when you do that, and then it'll say it's safe to disconnect or eject. So if you don't do that process and you just go ahead and unplug this, it's very likely that you'll corrupt the files inside the remote. The next step is you're going to update your TX1000 remote. So you'll plug that in, and again, make sure you've got fresh batteries. Go ahead and turn on your TX1000, and it'll say, do you wish to update the file, remote file and category list? You're going to say yes. On your TX1000 remote, on the screen, it's going to say USB active. Safely removed from computer before disconnecting cable. That is extremely important, because if you do not do that, you'll corrupt the files on your remote and it won't sync your files correctly when you go to sync it to your unit. I've done that on mine. I've hit OK. It says OK to eject, and then you can go ahead and unplug. It just takes a matter of a few seconds. I hope this video helped you to learn how to program your FoxPro Game Caller. I've got 2 more videos after this. The first one is advanced techniques on how to program your FoxPro e-collar. This would be for people that are a little bit more experienced in programming e-collars. On the second video, I want to walk you through the process of how to fix a TX1000 remote if you accidentally unplug it from your computer and get corrupted files. Please share and like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now.